This is episode 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
5 weeks, lads.
Yeah.
I know.
No one's quit yet. Hey, fuckers. Right, welcome back to episode 5 of What's New Lads Time to Talk. Episode 5 now. Thank you for everyone that watched last week's episode. It was actually a really, really fun episode to film. Obviously, so this week we have myself, Luke, Matt, Pat, JB, and the return of Chippy. He's had a few weeks out, been a bit of a busy bee, but he's back with it now. With this week, we are doing our One True Love. Now, this is not to be taken in any sort of like weird way. You'll find out, obviously, as the episode goes on, what we are talking about, but it's something that we can really get our teeth into. And we're going to sort of try and flip it as well and focus on the sort of other sides of things. Obviously, trying to relate it to mental health and how we can sort of like deal with these things, etc. But starting things off in normal fashion, what is new, lads? How's everyone's week's been? Chippy, where you been, mate? Let us know.
Yeah, boys. Nah, my week's been pretty decent, to be fair. Look, when was the last time I was on? I was on, like 2 weeks ago? Was the last time? Yeah, I had to move in with my sister because obviously my mum caught the virus. God blessings, she's all right now. She beat it, thank God. Just in case work watches this, I got tested. I'm negative. We all Gucci, don't have to fire me or anything. But yeah, other than that, boys, work's going pretty well. Week's been pretty decent. Just chilling, making the money. All good. Glad to be back.
You had a haircut?
Nah, well, yeah.
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 Why were you gonna lie?
No, because it's questions. You can go see the barber, you fuck. Nah, I got my mum to do it. Yeah, she did a pretty decent job, I'd say. Yeah. Oh shit, it's looking bad now. There we go. Yeah.
Bro, his mum was ill. She recovered. First thing he asked her to do, can you cut my hair?
Innit?
Yeah.
Did she cut your hair, Pat? Did she cut your hair?
No, not yet. Maybe let's go on for a little bit. Then I'll take my hat off.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, Luke, take it away, buddy.
Right. So this week we are talking about football. Okay. So I want to know each of your best football moments. I want to start with Josh Brown first. Go on, give us a quick explanation of your favourite football moment.
Wonder what this will be.
So yeah, is this our personal moments? I'm assuming. Listen,
you can say both. Just a bit of both. I want to hear your personal one and then what you've watched on TV or been to.
The best one for me, you boys know what I'm going to say. It's the scoring the third goal at Frigby with that the old sublime header. Let's not forget about that in the 5-1 win.
Neck.
So yeah, that was a pretty good day. That's probably personally my favourite day on a football pitch. Other ones I've seen on the pit on the old TV. Man United's treble's got to be up there. I know I was only a couple of years old, but I've got a couple of VHS tapes from back in the day that my dad used to make me watch all the time. Also, Leicester's one. Leicester winning the title. I think that sometimes gets overseen. That was an amazing feat considering they nearly got relegated the year before.
Yeah, right, they was on ropes that year.
Matt, what about you? What's your favourite football moment?
I have a feeling we're all sort of gonna say like similar answers. Like personally on the football pitch, it has to be Frigby, just sheerly down to like the amount of work we put into trying to get that victory. And it was a long time coming for me and you, Luke.
Oh mate, whole 4 years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, has all of you won it?
Yeah,
apart from you.
Yeah.
Apart from me,
Sorry, mate.
And then, of course, as a Chelsea fan, I'm gonna say the 2012 Champions League in Munich. It's got to be up there.
Was that the Didier Drogba
whenever
one?
I see Drogba's penalty, man.
Yeah.
Average one.
Nice. And then Chippy, you're a Chelsea fan as well, so I can imagine it might be the same kind of memory, but you go on as well.
Yeah, so personally, for me, my personal favourite football moment of all time, it has to be winning Frigby. Like, I know it's probably going to be the stereotypical one that we're all going to say, but Pat, he never won it. But for the rest of us, like, for me personally, winning Frigby, best like feeling ever, just to shut the throw ball boys up. Do you know what I mean?
What
They're
about
giving
that
it all the
save in
big
the
ends.
4-0 loss?
Hey, we don't talk about those things. Okay?
That was
That's
on
the past.
every social media for like 2 months in a row.
Little bastard. But yeah, and then obviously probably would have to be Chelsea winning the Premier League, not Premier League. Well, yeah, obviously winning the Premier League, that's pretty good when we win that. But it has to be Didier Drogba netting the penalty to win us the Champions. That was just unbelievable. Me and my dad literally cried. We were watching it, and we started like just jumping around. Oh, how old was I in 2012? Well, I was a lot
25.
younger than what I was now. It's got to be Chelsea winning the champ, 100%. Nothing will ever beat that.
You won the double
again.
here as well, man.
Yeah, man, it was unbelievable.
Pat, what about you? Being a West Ham fan, like myself, being a Palace fan, it's got to be. There's not many moments we have to celebrate.
No.
So what's your favorite? What's your favorite
We
one?
actually support proper football teams, our local football teams. You know, we're not like one of these people. Matt, you should technically support Fulham because it's closer to you.
No, it's not.
But you chose Chelsea because they're more successful. Because actually, unlike them, Luke, we're not red boys or glory hunters. We support the teams that we love. So I'm going to say my best personal football moment was actually just playing at university. I know it's like very cliche that everyone said that, but it was just fun. Like I was looking forward to going to training, and actually there was no like real pressure. Obviously, we all wanted to win, but we knew that win or lose, we would still go out on Wednesday and get absolutely pissed. And get absolutely pissed. Like it doesn't matter what. Like after football, we used to go to the union, have pints straight away. And if you didn't come, like you would get fined. So that there was just that bit of it. And obviously with West Ham, yeah, I mean, winning the World Cup in 1966 was quite a big moment for me.
Can you remember that?
I remember being there against West Germany and the Queen just watching us, which it was just an unbelievable moment. But apart from that, probably getting promoted back to the Premier League in 2012. No, it sounds pathetic, but he was popping at Wembley that year. So yeah. That's me.
Greg, what about you? Again, another Chelsea fan. Feel like we're dominated by Chelsea fans here, but go on. You as well.
I think individual, obviously Frigby's up there, but I think for me, probably
that touch at varsity.
Yeah, that touch that was actually sick. You reminded me of that. I was going to say something completely different, but that was absolutely unreal, mate. Ball ricocheted up in the air. There's probably about like 200 people watching. And Greg just draws it down on a sixpence, sprays it 40 yards to JB. That was unreal.
And I got
shut a lot of people up. But then I think, like watching football either on telly or live, I think I'm going to go with like a live sort of like moment. I watched Chelsea Stoke a couple years back, and Oscar like scored a free kick, and he sort of like went on the keeper's side, if that makes sense. So he sort of went like a Ronaldinho sort of like far corner. And I remember me and my brother went to that game, and I was just like, yeah, that's unreal. Like seeing it live, like seeing a player have that sort of ability to just literally just curl it in the other
so much better
corner. Mate, I think that was probably one of the best moments because that's when I realised I'm fucking shit at football. And then I was just like, yeah, leave it to the pros, man. Leave it to the pros.
Personally, okay, I did love winning Frigby, but the best moment that I actually think it was, I got to say, it was when we went to Vets. I think it was first game of the season, and I missed a penalty. Yeah. And that was like, oh my God, that was the first penalty I missed at uni. And I felt like the world was crumbling around me. Yeah. And then when I scored that last minute winner, it just made up for it. And I was very happy on the bus drive. That kind of brings me on to the next one, actually. The next question I want to ask is, have you experienced mental health issues during sport? Because for me in that game, when I did miss that penalty, I felt so bad for the rest of the team because we was working so hard, like for the whole game. And then I missed a penalty that we won that would have been 1-0, I think. And then like it was still 0-0 till the 93rd minute. So if I had to come home and drive that bus home with you lot on that bus, when I'd missed that penalty, I did not want to be there. I'm not going to lie to you. I would have just said, listen, boys, I'll pay for your cabs home. I'll drive home. That's it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, I've only really experienced like anxiousness and like nerves. I think that's sort of like normal, but something that sort of like made me a little bit sort of doubt myself was when I missed that penalty for the varsity qualifier against, I think it was against like Whitelands or something. Absolutely blazed it over the bar. And then when it went to the shootout, I was just like, people were like, no, Greg, take one. And I was just like, I can't do it. And I actually like bottled it. I was literally, it's something in the back of my head was like, you're gonna fuck this up. You're gonna muck it up again. And it was weird. I had to sort of like get over that barrier. But yes, that feeling of like regret. And because football's such a team sport, and you know, we all sort of like played our part. And when you step up to take a penalty, some people see it as like that's just a free goal. Like, you're going to put your best foot forward. You're going to put your best penalty taker forward. And when that sort of like, well, when I fluffed it, I was just like, these lads probably think I am shit. And, you know, we sort of got through by the scruff of our teeth then. And yeah, it was just sort of like a sense of relief. But it's definitely like, I felt,
bailed us out.
yeah, you can feel a little, I can imagine like, if it's on like a bigger stage, you can feel like they're like ostracized. If you've like, fully, like, let's imagine if it's like a World Cup final. And yeah, brother, I don't know. I experienced it on a small term basis, but experiencing it on like a massive stage, it's heavy.
Well, plus it's different. It's different, like for people like us just playing, you know, Sunday league, whatever university games, because the people on the big stages, they have professionals that work with them to battle that. And I think with us, you know, you don't want to mess around, especially when you're working so hard trying to, you know, better yourself and, you know, putting everything in, and then just things don't go your way. Like, you're really left alone with all those thoughts. And it's happened to me previously, like where, you know, I've worked so hard for the 4 years I was at university just to win that Frigby, and it just didn't come. 4 years in a row I lost. And then leaving university without that win is just, it's just miserable. And obviously it was, you know, all fun and games, but you still have that at the back of your mind.
Yeah. I think for the listeners as well, we keep mentioning Frigby. It basically is, for us, is just our season culminates in this big game at the end of the season. And that's essentially just what it is for us.
Yeah, it's essentially our cup final kind of thing, isn't it? Like, we wait the whole year to get to that one moment. Like, the league is nice, but that's just your prep for that one singular game. It's kind of like a varsity, how other unis would have, but we had varsity and obviously Frigby, which we played another team that was at our university. I mean, in terms of the mental health issues, I think it's kind of, in pro football, it's so much different to what we're used to. Do you know what I mean? They get so much abuse on social media. I see it every day. Like, I never put abuse. Like, I might say to my parents, like, oh, Zaha was rubbish this week, he didn't show up. But like, realistically, like, I adore the geezer. Do you know what I mean? He's made my club the best it could be. But in terms of when they're getting that abuse, we see so much racial abuse, so much abuse saying people are so rubbish all the time. But it's completely rotten. Like, there must be some awful people out there that could actually say some of them things to footballers. And I think it is just needed. Something that's needed is for like Twitter or Instagram to actually like upload your ID. I don't know, something where they can actually track you down.
You know what the mad thing is? A lot of it, from what I've seen, is fans of their own club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's their own fans.
Always is. Always.
Which makes it even more like toxic, so much more poisonous. And I think we live in such a generation now where, like, if anything, you can speak to anyone in the world, like hypothetically. Do you know what I mean? You could DM, I don't know, like Kim Kardashian, whoever. They may not reply or see it, but do you know what I mean? We're so connected, and that is such a dangerous thing where you have a profession that like millions of people watch you week in, week out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember when, for example, Dele Alli swore at the referee, and like that went all over the internet. You just think, like, give him a rest. He's wound up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
More one of us hasn't sworn at a ref before.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean?
But
Like,
no one sees it. No one sees it.
I remember getting yellow carded at varsity saying the F word. and that referee just like straight up from the halfway line just carded me. I was like, what? Baffled.
Quick question.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you think the players and the referees should be mic'd up like they are in rugby?
It is quite fun to listen in rugby. I don't know.
I know there was an Australian league that there was this referee, a really good referee in Australia.
I saw that.
And for his last game, they mic'd him up, and he was getting like all the respect from the players like the entire game and stuff like that. So that was quite interesting to hear. But also as well, like compared to rugby with football, like the rugby players don't swear, whereas you can always see footballers like swearing at the ref and stuff like that.
Want to be the
That's
star
probably one of
too
the main
often.
reasons. Do you know what I mean? It's probably one of the main reasons they don't have them mic'd up.
Yeah, I think it would take a good couple of years to slowly integrate that sort of thing in regards to football, because I think it's just so ingrained in the culture.
Yeah, bro, because you still get the commentators at the moment, because you can hear everything on the ground. You still get the commentators saying like, "Oh, we apologise for any bad language." So like, the bad language on a football pitch is horrendous. Like it comes from the managers, the players, everyone. It
won't stop.
No, even from grassroots football to pro football, it's the exact same. It's probably worse at our level where we play. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
I'm wearing my Sunday
definitely.
football club here. Yeah, this is them old calls to Eagles. Shout them out. And then our manager, honestly, George he'll have a pint in one hand, yeah, and he'll be swearing left, right, and centre on like all game long.
Grassroots, I love the grassroots.
That's just the culture.
There's something beautiful about that, though. There's something special about
that.
You go every single Sunday league game is the same. It's completely the same. You know, there's always the geezer that shouts. There's always the guy that comes drunk. There's always the guy with World Cup boots on who's an absolute technician. You know, you always get your big owl in goal, fat as fuck. There's a beauty to it.
Oh my God, I actually forgot. I didn't say my best football moment outside of my.
No, you didn't, because I asked you, what about you, Luke? And you started reading your fucking
Oh my
thing.
God, bros. Listen, I'm going to go back to it because it is that much of the best moment ever in football, all right? It was that 3-3 Istanbul Palace versus Liverpool, and it was.
Oh my days!
I was actually there. Istanbul, you love it. Listen, I was there, and honestly, the geezer behind me. I had a season ticket at that time, and the geezer behind me genuinely was crying. He was an old bloke, and he was crying, and he couldn't believe that we had just come from 3-0 down against a team that were going on to win the Prem if they pretty much beat us. Okay, so we done you lot a favour that year. I mean, you could say it was the Gerrard slip eventually. I think that was the same year, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was just as significant.
Yeah, that was like the biggest game of that season. All right, so I'll take that title for you lot, because I'll never ever see a title being a Palace fan. I want to go on to something else now. Okay, Greg, you spoke about it actually, like when we was discussing the topic. You said the statement, millions of fans, millions of hecklers. So I know we've just touched slightly on like the fans like having a go at their own team, but do you want to kind of expand on that one as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I am no professional at all, so obviously I'm not like clued up on it, but I think it comes with it's such like a weird sort of like concept, because when you play football, like when we've all played football when you were younger, you know, playing like under 7s, 8s, 9s, we do it because we love the game. Do you know what I mean? We do it because we know nothing else. And then there comes a point, obviously, when you turn like, you know, professional and whatnot, it can be, I don't know, can become such like an isolating sort of world, even though you have millions of fans like on social media and stuff like that. Like I mentioned earlier, it also opens up such a different like catalogue of just like abuse, but it's such a dangerous world where everyone watches like your every move, and I think that that shouldn't happen. You know, I think, for example, let's just go back to 50, 60 years ago with a player like George Best, who was going out every weekend, you know, getting drunk, you know, getting high, you know, have like hundreds of girls around him, but then he'd have like an absolute banging performance on the weekend.
Yeah.
The only player that we can liken that to now is similarly Jack Grealish, a young English player, good-looking lad, all the money in the world. But then when he gets ridiculed for, going to a party or stuff like that, everyone slanders him. And I think, let him live. Let them live. They're professionals. And I think I watched The Last Dance, right? And Dennis Rodman said a really, really good point. And he basically said, I play basketball for free. The reason I get all the millions is for the stuff outside of it. And for me, there's a lot of truth in that. Players, they get paid the millions and millions and millions because clubs can't give them anything else. They can't give them freedom. They can't give them anonymity. It comes with the territory. People are going to know you. And the best way to sort of do it is just give them sort of like money to sort of essentially buy their happiness, because I think at such an elite level, a little bit of the happiness does go. You're always striving for perfection. There's always going to be someone in that dressing room trying to take your shirt, and as soon as you slip up, the world's on you. So yeah, man, it's such a fine line. And I think if you want to be a great player or a great professional, great athlete, there's such like a fine line, and you've just got to sort of balance it really, because believe it or not, fans can make or break someone's career. You could, for example, like Ronaldo, people like absolutely hate him, but then there's so many people that love him. And I think we're coming to an era where people just respect him. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's only come after 17 years as a professional. So I think it's to any professional or anything like that, you've got to have such a strong head, like mentally, to sort of deal with everything.
Do you boys think that is due to footballers becoming celebrities now? Because in all newspapers, all you see is footballers, really. They're more important than doctors in this country.
Yeah, mate, they're seen like gods, and I don't know. It's such a weird topic. What does everyone else think? Because I could go on for hours about the whole thing.
No, I completely agree. In terms of, I think one of the things that's important to note is the more money goes into the sport, the more money that goes into football, the more money goes in behind the scenes, the further a footballer's life drifts from sort of reality, a normal life. So, another thing is that they get their social media done for them. They get everything done for them. And I think it's very difficult for young players sort of coming through to sort of understand their whole life revolves around football now, and especially dealing with the media and stuff like that. And I think one thing that maybe in the past clubs could do better on is educating these young players that are coming through on what it is really like to be that criticised by the media, and getting older players to sort of talk to younger ones, which you obviously get a lot more of now. I think clubs have failed in the past to sort of explain the ropes to younger players, and they've gone out and made simple mistakes that have then been magnified by the media.
Have any of you lads, regardless of what level of football it is, and I'm sure we all have, but have you ever sort of experienced, heckling, people calling you every word under the sun, and how did it make you feel? How did you sort of bounce back from that?
Oh yeah, I've had that, yeah.
Yeah.
At my old club and when I was under 18s as well. When I was under 18s, we were playing like a men's team, and a bunch of I say fans, there's like 20 fans for each team type thing, mostly parents. But I was just playing like right back, and I was just getting heckled by some guy's mate the whole time. And obviously I was a shy, awkward, little unconfident 16-year-old kid.
Still
that really made me pretty much. But no, it did really make me sort of did make me feel a bit shit and go into my shell a little bit.
Yeah, I got it pretty bad.
I don't know this person.
I got it pretty bad in Frigby in my second year.
Yeah, man.
There was a bunch of
you was always getting it bad.
It was like on the side of the pitch, like away from the stands, and the entire game I was getting shit, like quite a lot of bad shit. And yeah, it wasn't great, but sort of like carried on after the match as well. Like, so it was a bit toxic, but those things are sort of just part of football, really.
Yeah. I remember at like the age of 16 when I was playing semi-pro actually. every week I was the guy who ate all the pies.
So,
Are you laughing, Chippy? See, this is the issue.
no, but like,
Don't make the
honestly,
laugh, Chip.
I'm so sorry.
that's the thing, isn't it? Like even at our level, we get so much abuse just from like the fans. Like Matt was saying at that Frigby, I remember someone on the sideline. I won't name their names, but like the old boys of Throwball were like literally saying things about my mum, saying I should be dead.
Yeah, I
like
heard stuff about my mum,
loads of stuff. And my parents were actually on the same side, and my auntie and uncle. My uncle actually just said and pulled him to the side and was like, hang about, like his little cousins are here. Don't speak to like anyone like that. And like it's because they were boozed up, of course. But I mean, they would never say that when they're sober. Do you know what I mean?
Did they stop?
Yeah, they stopped because they're not horrible people. They're just doing it as part of the culture. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Once someone said like, "Oh, there's kids here," like they obviously respect that. But then, I mean, I think that's got to be put into pro football. When you go there to the grounds, when we're allowed back in again, I think people have actually got to have some respect. Like, there's little kids that go to games that sits next to you. Yeah, I understand if it's in a song and there's a swear word, like that's part of the song for that club. Okay, so you can't change something like that because it's kind of the heritage. But if you're calling the ref a blah blah every time, that's just not needed anymore. I mean, everyone's got to teach people the way to do it, and that's how bad things have got because we learned from other people. Do you know what I mean? That culture came from when I was playing in a Sunday team at 16. Like there was adults and they were being horrible. Do you know what I mean? And now I'm getting to that stage, and maybe if I play against an 18-year-old, I'll do the same. But it's just rotten. Do you know what I mean? It's a horrible environment to play in.
Yeah, definitely. It is toxic. It's so toxic, but it's culture. Like, I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Because the way I see it is that, like, going back to more the professional side. If you've been a football fan all your life, you know what the culture's like. So part of me also thinks you know what you're getting yourself into. Obviously, like when it comes to obviously like if you've had like a shit game, you're even gonna you're gonna heckle yourself. Do you know what I mean? So, and if people have like paid to watch you, you need to understand that like even your teammates are gonna be like, mate, you've had a shocker, you've had a stinker, you're on the bench next week. So it all comes with the territory. Obviously, there are so many other parts of that, which obviously the game sort of like focuses on now to sort of like stamp out. So yeah, when it does come to like racial abuse, stuff like that, there's no room for that at all. Of course it's not. And yeah, I think it's just, to know, it's a weird one. It is a weird one to sort of like speak on regarding like I said, is it a part of the game? Is it a part of the culture? Is it something that we completely get rid of? It's a sticky one. It's a sticky one.
And you'll never get rid of stuff like that, especially like for goalkeepers. Like you're the most isolated position on the pitch, and all it takes is like a group of people just to go behind your net and just call you shit like 24/7. Because literally all they're waiting for, is someone like me to just not be able to catch a ball properly. The next thing you know, it's like, oh, keeper, you can't even catch dinner properly or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, keeper, you can't even catch Corona. Like, it's just like, do you know what I mean? It's part of the game. Like that kind of stuff's never gonna leave football. And goalkeepers get it a lot more than other people just because they can just be singled out. You know what I mean?
Especially at goal kicks, where it's
Say that, but I do love that though. That's one of my favourite parts of the fan experience when you're on the pitch.
Not getting to the halfway line.
Matt, okay, cool, bro.
I think I want to move on to this question because it kind of fits in quite well. Like, Greg, I know you was just about to say like striving for excellence as pros. Yeah, but I think even at our level that you don't. I mean, Sunday football's a bit different, but when we was playing at uni, we didn't just play to. We played to have fun, of course, but we played to win. Do you know what I mean? There was a level of at our training, it was intense. Like that was the fittest I'd ever been. And we had made sure we was all in the same boat. No one was a slacker. Everyone was on form. Do you know what I mean? So I think you saying before that you have to strive for excellence, it has become that kind of drug to the players. drug to the fans, the players, both of them, because the fans think, oh, he's getting paid this much every week. How on earth is he not shooting with his left foot? The amount of times I say that, like, this guy can't deliver a ball from the wing, but he's getting paid $100,000 a week. I just don't understand it. But I want to say, like, for us, striving for excellence, even from your own teammates, they can become the hecklers to you. Because I remember personally, like, this was actually something that brought me quite down at a stage when I was playing at uni. I remember I went through a run of form that was awful. Like, if I wasn't the manager, I would have been benched. Yeah. But I was getting that from, don't forget the boys that I was living with, Onome, Sam and Aaron. They stuck it on you. They didn't hang about. You were playing bad, they would tell you, and you did not feel good about yourself. And there was actually a stage where I think we was playing St. George's, if I remember rightly. And Onome was giving me the big one before the game. And I just thought, nah, that's enough now. And then I think I turned up, scored a hat-trick, and that was it. That was the form. That was the form.
I think I remember that game.
Back in play, like, I started playing properly again. But for them, like, 4 games before that, I could not hit a barn door, mate. I was struggling so hard. And I think when you're even at that level, you strive for excellence because you don't want to let your mates down. Do you know what I mean? So I think in terms of pro football, that striving for excellence must be so difficult because fans are watching you 24/7 on that pitch. If you do something wrong, if one of my defenders misses a ball, I'm like screaming at the telly. But I think it must be so difficult for them, honestly.
Yeah, you don't get that many chances.
Yeah.
Now, if you even in pro football, you have one bad game, mate, there's 5 people waiting to replace you.
Yeah. Especially if you're a youngster. If you're a youngster, it's worse. Like, you're 18 and you've got to play that you've just come in. Like that guy, I think it was Southampton the other week against United, maybe.
When he got the red card.
Yeah.
Like,
he's
an 18-year-old, come on for his debut. He's got a red card. His career might just about be over just from that one thing. Do you know what I mean? Which is so sad that guy's worked that hard, came on for 12 minutes, I think it was, and been sent off straight away. Like, and I don't know what was going through his head because it was quite bad. But I mean,
I think it's pressure. At such a young age. You just want to, you want to seem like you're on it. And I think it got to him.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Finish your point off.
Finish it then, cunt.
What are you waiting on?
I was waiting for Greg to go back to normal. So yeah, my point is that there's a very thin line, I think, between sort of holding yourself to account and the fans holding you to account to your performance and sort of feeling player abuse as well. Because, to get to that sort of strive for excellence level, you need to be accountable for all your actions on the pitch, off the pitch these days, because if you don't, then someone else will. And I think, especially with that as well, it comes with the price tag that fans expect so much, and there's so much expectations on players. And I think sometimes the fans can forget that they're human as well, and they make mistakes. And I think it does sort of roll over into a bit of abuse of the players if they're going through a little bit of a bad patch.
But from the fan side of you, think about it. Football's not cheap. To watch football, to go to football, a football day out is expensive. Like, you have to spend like 150, 200 easily on like going to the pub, getting food, whatever it is. Even season tickets. As a fan, you think, I'm spending that much money just to go and watch crap.
Yeah, people want their money's worth.
That's where Germany have it right. Like, you could be a Munich fan, go watch a home game for €20.
Yeah, I think it's so much better for you other 4. Yeah, not me and Pat, because the only time when I had a season ticket, the best time was when your big clubs would come to Palace. Do you know what I mean? Because then at least I know I'm actually seeing a good game instead of Palace versus Burnley, which was a screamer last weekend. But most of the time it's 0-0. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's very, like, it does cost a lot. So you do want to be satisfied from that cost. It's like getting a takeaway and it being money. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I think at the end of the day, though, football's football. It's literally anything can happen. Like, if you go to a stalemate 0-0, do you know what I mean? Teams aren't playing for a draw these days. Teams want to win, and it's just one of those games. And I think that's the whole. I think that's the reason why fans come back. You know, if it's a blowout league, perhaps like the German league or the Spanish league, where it's like 4 or 5 teams, or sorry, like 3 or 4 teams that can win it, fair enough. But in the Premier League, apart from like City, like maybe like a few weeks ago, 6 teams could have won the league. Do you know what I mean? 6, 7 teams could have won the league. So it's interesting.
But there's no bankers anymore, so I think for betting wise as well, it's hard to bet on anyone now because you never know what's going to happen.
Yes,
and we do not agree with betting.
Every home game isn't really a home game anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because them players used to thrive off the atmosphere. I know when people used to go to certain stadiums, like it was like a cauldron. Do you know what I mean? Like you did not want to be there.
At Palace especially, because you guys are so loud at home.
Yeah, man. Like at home, we're like great. Do you know what I mean? But then I do also have to say when it does go, when we're losing 3, like when that Liverpool game was and it was 3-0 down, it was awful. Yeah, until it went 3-1. Then we was like, oh, goal, great. We saw a goal today. And it went 3-2 and oh my God, the crowd just went nuts. It was insane. I think that's what pushed them on. Do you know what I mean? Them kind of, that's what they missed. The fans push the players on every week, no matter
like in Liverpool's current form at home.
Yeah.
Like especially for games like this season when West Ham played Tottenham, we were 3-0 down in like the 80th minute, and imagine being a fan and seeing Lanzini's goal live. Like you would just go absolutely nuts. Like that would make your whole week. Football can ruin everyone's week, man. If your team loses, that's it, bro.
I've got a question. With knowing what you know now, let's just say you had like a Jamie Vardy story, like the come up, and you found yourself in a position of being in the Premier League within the next like span of 2 years, whatever. Do you reckon you could cope with being an elite professional athlete with like millions of people watching you week in, week out? Be honest, because I could hold my hands up and say I could not handle it. Knowing what I know now and being a fan and the way that football culture is, I could not handle it at all, man. It would get to me too much.
I think for me, I would say no, because the reason why I would say no is because I'm talented when it comes to playing, but I'm the laziest, and anyone can vouch for that. I am the laziest person in the world. Like I would not track back. Fans would hate me. Fans would absolutely hate me. Like I would just get taken off straight away. And I think like the pressure would just get to me too much because I like doing things on my own like terms. Like I like to track back when I want to track back, not when someone tells me to track back.
And you didn't win Frigby, yeah?
I didn't win Frigby, no.
That's why.
You see, we used to go for jogs, and I just used to be at the back, just chatting and walking, like
rolling a fag.
You had a fag at half time.
Yeah. With the referee as well.
What about the rest of you boys? Be honest. What about you, Luke?
Do you know what? I'd like to say I could.
I would, mate. I'd bag 30 in the Prem.
Yeah, I'd like to say I could, yeah. But honestly, the regime they're under, it's so intense. Like, even when you see, like, I follow my team's Instagram and the training they do, like, it's non-stop. Do you know what I mean? They go there they go to the training ground for breakfast, lunch, dinner, then they go home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a few sessions a day, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't have any time. Like, I know we say that they get paid so much so they shouldn't moan, but in all honesty, like, they do a hell of a lot. Although they should not earn what they're earning. I'm not justifying that. I'm just saying that they do a hell of a lot more work than we think when we just watch them on a Saturday afternoon.
There's a reason they're there and we're not, let's be honest.
I don't know.
Yeah. Not necessarily. I wouldn't say that.
Do you think you could have made
the right training?
If I didn't injure my knee, who knows, man?
Yeah.
That's what Pat's been telling me for years.
Look at the scarring. The scarring's still there, bro.
Mad. What about you, Matt? Do you reckon you could cope if you was, do you know what I mean, given the older opportunity?
I'd give it a good try because that's the sort of opportunity that pretty much every boy grows up dreaming of. So yeah, I'd give it a shot, I think.
Do you reckon you could cope with 1 million people telling you you're shit, You have no left foot.
He actually doesn't.
Yeah, sure. I could go with that. Just turn my phone off, innit?
To be fair, Matt
Yeah,
took that
turn your
for
phone
3
off.
years at Digby, so I mean, he can do anything.
Do you know who gave it to me the worst? Fucking Pat.
Oh,
Fucking hated Pat when I was a fresher, I'll tell you.
Listen, it was character building. Look at you now. Look at the confidence you have now, bro.
That's all it is, character building.
It's all
I
love.
want to ask another question. I know we're just drilling loads of questions in this podcast, but it's nice to get to talk to you a lot about football in different terms, not just about Digby and like our weekend games. You know what I mean? So, do you think players are paid too much? And I want to also say, do you think female sport should be paid kind of the equal bracket? Do you think that's justified? What's your opinions on that?
You know what? I was thinking about this the other
Josh
day.
is
Actually.
right on it this weekend.
Innit? He's been brewing, you know what I mean?
Well, no, this one I wanted to specifically answer because I looked into it a little bit the other day, because I've always been at sort of the viewpoint that obviously it's not sort of in a deserving way, but I think the men's game brings in a lot more money, all that sort of stuff, the business side of things, and the players get paid, you know, as almost a percentage of the money they're bringing in. But what I will say is, I had no idea how little the women that are at the top of their game actually got paid. You know, I was thinking that it was a bit of a discrepancy, but I thought that the top female players would still be on good money. But I found out the other day, looking into it, the top earners in the female game are still on 30k a year, which is just crazy to me. I didn't realize how big of a gap it actually was.
Once I see a female scoring a 40-yarder on the top bins, they're not getting paid the same as the men.
Mate, they do that all the time. But aside from like the obvious like economic reasons of why the men's game has more money, there is of course like a skill divide, and you can see that like there was like the Brazil's women's team. I think they played like an under-16s team at the beginning of the year. They lost like 6-0.
Yeah, I think I've just looked up. Actually, I wasn't being rude. I was just looking up. Yeah, and everyone knows Alex Morgan. But obviously,
she's sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
She's
That's
so
everyone knows her.
She's so fine, bro.
All right, Chippy, Jesus.
All right, Chippy, innit? Fucking hell, mate. You not had a wank in a week or something?
No, I haven't, mate.
You know, get out your system, you boy. He has, isn't he?
He's not allowed over there. There's no Wi-Fi.
Look at him covering his face.
Right,
she
so
put
she's
a block on the internet.
she's on 30 grand a week, a month. Sorry, a week. But it's 30 grand a month. That's still substantial. Do you know what I mean? That's what people.
That's one person out of thousands of people, man. It is a problem. It is a problem.
Saying that though, I do think there should be maybe more investment into like girls football growing up. Like it's probably 100%. Not as much equal opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think it needs to.
Help the game develop,
needs to be covered more.
Yeah.
It needs to be covered more. That's one of the reasons why there's such a pay divide, because there's so much more attraction to the men's football than there ever will be for
that as well.
women's
It's
football.
coming up though.
I remember
women's football is coming up though. Definitely is.
I remember, doing when I was writing my dissertation, I did it on like the sports coverage gap between men and women's sport, and like every year there's something like over 100,000 articles that are printed on like say the Premier League alone, and like out of like 100,000 articles on football, 1% of that is dedicated to women's sport. So that's one of the reasons why there's such a big gap as well. Because let's be real, if Chelsea's men's team are playing and then Chelsea's women's team are playing on the same day, and your mate's like, oh, let's go to the pub to go watch one of them games, which one are you going to go to? You're going to go to the men's one, ain't you? You ain't going to go to the women's one because it's just not
I don't think the pub
appealing.
Show the women's.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I think that
was, games,
yeah. I think that all started from a young age though, because I don't know if you boys remember, like in PE, even in school, girls never used to play football. Like girls played netball, boys played football. That's just how it was for PE. But now, like when my brother was going to school, like they had dedicated, like they the girls had to like play football as well. Like, so there was like no shots. So they're bringing in more sports for girls to do as well. Like not just football, just all other sports as well. So I think it's slowly starting to get better.
Yeah. Back to the question of, are players paid like too much? Luke, what do you think? Do you think
I
Wilfried
think
Zaha's played too much? He's paid too much. Sorry.
Do you know what? I love him. Yeah, he's great, and he deserves a lot of money for how he makes Palace look. Because without him, we're terrible. But he's obviously not like he doesn't deserve to earn that much. Although he's given the good thing about him is he's given 10% of his wages since he was 17 to charity. Do you know what I mean? That's a nice gesture. That's what every footballer should be doing. I don't know if they are. I don't really know other players. Do you know what I mean? But he does that. That's a nice gesture. But he definitely shouldn't be like. No one needs to earn that money.
Yeah.
Why do you need all that money? It's insane.
Yeah.
Like there's so much poverty like around the world that even if you spread like 1% of everyone's wealth, it would actually cure like poverty, hunger, like everything like that. So I just don't understand why the world doesn't make it like a taxable benefit or something properly.
Point with the 10%. I know one Matter, he set up like some sort of charity thing with 10%. He's got a lot of footballers on board, sort of a lot of the United team, a lot of other players in the Premier League that I think, I'm not sure if it's completely 10%, but they give a certain percentage of their weekly salary to charity.
Yeah, I think Chelsea's fine list goes towards like charities as well.
I'm on the other side of, I think they are paid what they're worth, because essentially they don't give themselves their own paycheck. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, Messi's recent contract. Did you read about it? It was like at the start of the month.
Ridiculous.
Like 500 million over 4 years. And when you think about it, he hasn't asked to be paid that much. The club are giving him that because that's what he's worth. And I think, like I mentioned earlier, it's the stuff around it that you get paid for. Like, again, the guy's arguably the greatest footballer in the world. But do you know what I mean? He's given his life to a football club. Like his whole life, he's played more professional football than the years that he hasn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's surpassed that age now.
He's like, he's a business asset, really.
Yeah, and when you sacrifice your life, do you know what I mean? Because when I'm sure if you're a young professional, you don't go out to parties and stuff like that. When you've given your whole life to a company, you expect to be paid back. You know, he can't go out and just, do whatever. He's turned down lucrative contracts from Man City, in the past, and I think Chelsea were in from at one time.
PSG as well.
PSG, and I think he's paid what he's worth, because, like Josh mentioned, the money that club brings in, he then gets a percentage of that. I'm not just using Messi as an example. For example, Ronaldo as well. He's won a club a title. The amount of bonus money that is in the Champions League and all these club competitions is astronomical. So why not put that into your best player that's going to win you that? I think they are sort of worth it, because the money that goes into the game, and they're just sick. Like, do you know what I mean? They're just so good. Like, imagine being the best, right? Like, picture this. Imagine being the best in the world at football. No one in the world is better than you. Imagine that. And you're gonna, and someone's just like, you're only getting paid 10 grand a week though. Don't know about that.
Yeah. No, I think
it's
as well.
It's such a hard thing to comprehend.
And football has a 1.2 billion following, somewhere around that number.
Something massive.
Yeah.
Biggest sport worldwide by far.
By miles.
By far. But yeah, I think as well, to piggyback a bit onto Greg's point, I think there's also a case of whether you agree with your football team's owners, board of directors, CEO, CFO, say the people at the top, you have to sort of respect their decision they own the club, they can make that decision how they want. And that's sort of, they're people that have, they could have inherited money from family and stuff like that, inherited the business, but through whatever they've done, they're in that position. So you have to sort of respect that it is their money to spend.
Yeah, man, of course.
Even if it is too much, again, it is a lot, and it is sort of more than the footballer needs. But again, it's a case of they
think,
get to choose what they
think
pay
how
their
much
players.
football has changed. Think how much football has changed. Yeah, in what year was it when Ronaldo went to Madrid?
2009.
2009, and he went for a record-breaking then, which was 50 million, I think.
80 mil.
80 mil.
Yeah.
And back then we were like, whoa, like 80 mil, like where, like that's ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
But now you think 80 mil
Gets you
is
Harry
really
Maguire.
nothing.
Yeah.
You get you Harry Maguire. You know what I mean? Like football is just the money that's just increasing is just ridiculous for playing. Like what did Neymar go for? 200 and what?
220 mil.
220 million pounds for a football player. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. That's dumb money.
My granddad always tells me an anecdote that his one of his friends from when he was younger, he got offered a job at Arsenal to be like a player or whatever, and he turned it down because there wasn't enough money to raise his family. I think he was like, don't know what he was doing, but he was doing some sort of standard job at the time, and he's getting more money from that. So it is crazy just how far things have come and how much they're growing.
Yeah, no, it is kind of crazy. I think I'm gonna ask some quick fire questions. All right, I'm gonna go around everyone, make it a bit more exciting for you. Like
Quick fire.
Yeah.
No
All right.
long-worded answers.
Yeah. So the first question is, who's gonna win the league? Have City run away with it already?
City.
Yeah, Man City.
Yeah, Man City.
Man United.
Yeah, obviously says that. He's a wanker.
Always a United fan. Okay. Another question: are the bottom three that are currently there going down? Bottom three currently are Fulham, West Brom, and Sheffield United.
Yes, I think so. I would say yes.
I'd probably put Man U in that. I don't like.
Fulham are going to overtake Chelsea.
No, I agree. Yeah, the three that are in the bottom three now. Yeah, I don't see them.
Yeah, I think they're a bit too far away. Aren't they?
I have a sneaky feeling that Fulham are going to somehow wean their way out of it. I don't know why.
I don't see it. I've
got a feeling.
Off the zone. It's not too much, but it's a tall order still.
Listen, I hope they don't, because if they do, that means Palace are definitely somewhere down there. I know that for true.
I don't mind because it's only down the road. Championship ticket prices next year.
True. I want to ask another question, quick again. There's 3 big games this week. Well, I evaluated them as 3 big games, so I want to know who you think's going to win them. Okay, City versus Arsenal. Go Chippy first.
City.
Matt.
Yeah, it's got to be City.
Pat.
That's not a big game. Arsenal are not a big team, so City.
Controversial.
Yeah, Greg and Josh, you both going to say City as well?
Yeah, of course, bruv. Water's wet. City win.
I'm going to go Arsenal.
Oh my God.
This is the start of our title charge.
Right, next game. Okay, quick again. Just shout it out. Liverpool, Everton.
Oh, Everton.
Oh, that's
the Toffees.
I think Liverpool are in such bad form at the moment that
I think Liverpool.
Anything could happen.
I think Liverpool.
If Becker is in goal, Everton are winning.
Becker's like Chippy at the moment. All right, and then obviously the biggest game over the next weekend is on Monday. Palace versus Brighton, the A20 derby.
Sussex derby.
The most important game of the season. Okay, so who do you think is going to win that game?
2-2 draw, mate. Brighton have not been too bad.
No, they haven't. They do play good football, though.
Bro,
Brighton.
Listen, it pains me to say it. I actually think we will either draw or lose that game. I will not be saying that Palace will win. I pray we do, but without Zaha, we are terrible. And then I want to go to the last. I'll do 2 quick ones as well because
I've got a few questions as well.
I think this is a massive game. Burnley versus West Brom.
Burnley.
Yeah, all right, it's not massive at all, but it's bigger than Man United and Newcastle. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Obviously.
Another couple questions. All right, quick ones again. Next manager to get sacked.
Mourinho.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Mourinho.
Mourinho.
Nah, it won't be
Mourinho.
Mourinho.
I think it will be.
Oh, actually, Scott Parker.
Yeah, do you know what? I think Scott Parker might go before the end of the season.
Maybe Chris Wilder.
Nah, they love him too much, mate.
They love him, yeah.
If they go down,
do
they're
love him
coming
there,
straight
bro.
back up. It's
Mate,
mad.
they could record the equal record, the lowest points ever.
Okay, boys, just a really quick one. Is West Ham getting top 4?
No.
No.
Fuck.
Maybe top 6.
I have a question, right? I have a very good question, okay? This is for everyone. Why do you love football?
Okay, I'll
Mike's
start.
off. Fucking hell, lads. Perk up a little bit.
Because
Jesus Christ.
he's brought me joy to my life. And as a kid, he gave me a purpose to do things, like go training and stuff.
That's quite a good one. I think for me, it's the fact that no matter what, if I watch a game of football, my mind goes on to football. Like if I'm in a bad mood and I come home and then I see a football game's on, or even if I watch football highlights, mate, it just makes my day that little bit better. Even if it's Palace losing 3-0 to Burnley, like it's okay. Do you know what I mean? I'm still watching football, and it's just something that takes my brain away from everything I'm doing. So that's why I love it.
What about you, Chip?
Yeah, I'd agree.
For me personally, it all stems down to my dad. Like, my dad's the reason that I got invested in football in the first place. Like, my dad's probably the biggest Chelsea supporter I know. And, like, if it weren't, like, him taking me to my first ever Chelsea game, which was against Newcastle a long time ago, like, it all just stems down to that old geezer just, buying me my first pair of boots or buying me my first pair of gloves and stuff like that. That's, like, my main reason why I love it so much.
What about you, Matthew?
Yeah, a lot of the same reasons. It's like it's an escape, or like actually playing it as well. It's like physical, mental. Got to meet all you lads. Like there's so much opportunity and stuff that it gives you to enrich your life. So
It's weird how you play football when all your problems go away.
Yeah.
At that stage.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Everything just goes away. Your mind is not there anymore. Like your mind is on football, and it's just such a beautiful thing because nothing else in the world does that.
No, like you go to work and you think about finishing work, but when you're playing football, you do not want that to finish unless you get unless you're absolutely knackered and it's like 85th minute and you're like, please, ref, we're 2-0 up, please just call it. But I mean, yeah, it gives you a feeling like no other. I think, added to my point, I think when it kind of brought me and my mum close together, because my mum loves Palace. So, I mean, my dad didn't really like football when I was growing up, but now he supports Palace, obviously. At that stage, it kind of brought me and my mum closer together. She brought me to every football game. Do you know what I mean? Like, even my Sunday football, she would bring me there every singular day. I've got to give her a little shout out because obviously she's my mum. Do you know what I mean? But
Big up, Mumsy.
yeah, exactly.
Big up, Mumsy.
So, I mean, yeah, that's probably why I love football. I've got a quick question. I know what Pat's going to say, but best signing of the year.
Oh,
It's got to be Suchek.
Wait, season or
This season, who was the best signing in summer transfer and this winter transfer that's just gone?
Timo Werner? He's the boy.
Oh,
Yeah,
He's the biggest.
Oh my god.
he's a fraud.
No. Big best transfer. Don't know. Yeah, it's probably got to be Thomas Suchek.
Yeah, man. That guy is absolute
Yeah.
fire. He doesn't even look like a
Unbelievable
footballer.
player.
He does not look like a footballer, but he
He
does
does.
everything.
Looks like he stood on a rake. Do you know what I mean?
But big him up, man.
Yeah,
He's
what
come
a
from
baller,
another
though.
country and then just turn up this much in the Prem, like first league in. Oh, it's just insane.
Bro, you know he's only 25.
Yeah,
It's mad. He looks about 40.
Right. One last quick fire question, then we can go on to something a bit better. Okay. Most disappointing team of the year.
Manchester United. Fuck United.
Fuck you know, it's not shit.
Oh, I'm going to say Liverpool.
Right, for me,
Yeah, man, they're disappointing
Yeah.
champions, mate. They're so disappointing.
for me, I'm
Oh,
actually
mate,
going to hate you lot are going to hate me, but I think it's Chelsea. You spent so
Yeah,
much money.
I was going to say that.
I mean, you've even like you're looking okay now under what's his name, Thomas. I can't even say his surname. You're looking okay under him. But you guys spent so much money. You should have come in the season. Timo Werner should be on 20 goals already. Do you know what I mean? After his performances in Germany, I know it takes a while to settle in, but there's only so long you can kind of stick it out. Do you know what I mean? Giroud can come on and score a goal any day of the week. So, I mean,
I think Kai Havertz was being disappointing as well.
Yeah.
Because there was so much hype about him.
I thought you guys might make a charge for the league this year. Honestly, beginning the season, I thought it was yours to lose.
Yeah, me too, mate.
Do you reckon, boys, that can actually be like a massive detriment to a player, like when they're coming over from another club and they're getting so hyped up?
Massively, massively.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially for that price tag.
Yeah, I think it's a blessing that there's no fans in the stadium.
Oh yeah,
obviously for some reasons, you know, and oh, bro, I couldn't imagine it. Like, imagine going over to for us going over to Barcelona for 80 mil, and then everyone's just calling you shit every week. You just think, nah, lads, I promise.
I know, and they're only young. Do you know what I mean? Werner and Havertz are so young that that anything you say to them, it could actually get under their skin because they're not used to it. Do you know what I mean?
They're at the age they would have gone uni with us. They're that age. Do you know what I mean? It's so strange, man. It's so strange.
Are team sports better than individual? I know we all play football, but so we're all obviously kind of team orientated. But are there any sports you play individually? Maybe squash, golf.
Squash.
I play squash. I'll get my squash racket out now, bro. I love squash. Squash is my favourite sport other than football.
Oh God!
By far, and then it's golf. I love golf, but
golf obviously you like golf.
I do like a bit of golf.
You scream golf, mate.
But them kind of individual sports, is there anything do you think they compare at all to a team sport?
It's all situation, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's harder because there's more pressure on individual sports. I feel like obviously in team sports, if one player is not doing that good, I mean, you can you can help him out with that one. But if for example, I love tennis, watching tennis, and you're just thinking there's so much pressure on that person because he's there by himself. He can't get his coach to speak to him during the match or anything like that. I don't know. I personally think it is more pressure.
Yeah, I actually grew up playing. I played football growing up. But I also done athletics. And I was doing discus and javelin, which obviously very much you're on your own there. And I would say in terms of enjoyment level, football was way up there, much more.
I'm not surprised, bro. You're doing discus and javelin. Of course
you're lobbing broomsticks in the
field. I thought you was going to say running or something, and I'll be like, okay, fair. Do you know what I mean?
I did athletics.
Javelin. I didn't know that.
Well, I went to the club to start doing running, and then turns out I was good at the throwing stuff. So, yeah. And the thing is, I actually got quite good at it, made a decent run at it, but I still preferred football so much.
I mean, it's a team sport, isn't it? Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
I'd say I think all of the things we've said as reasons of why we love football, people can draw on those in their own way for an individual sport, and you don't have to sort of rely on other people. But I think in terms of fun, it's got to be team sports. I think they're more watchable, enjoyable. I think the pressure as well can add to the excitement. Not to say that there's not pressure in individual sports, but I feel like there's the potential to let down more people in a way. So I just think there's more riding on it.
I think obviously I love football and stuff like that, but my mentality, I think it's changed a little bit, and I would love to be a world champion on my own. For example, Wimbledon, a Roger Federer. Don't get me wrong, I love playing football, and I'll always love football, etc. But having that feeling of being that single-handed best player, tennis player, in the world, or golf player, Tiger Woods, it's literally you've accomplished it, and I don't think there's any better feeling than knowing that you just are the pinnacle.
Lewis Hamilton.
Imagine being
Lewis Hamilton,
champion.
bro. Yeah, boxing, something like that. Just think I've single-handedly done it. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think there's anything better than that. But that's just my mentality of being a bit selfish.
Yeah, to be fair, we could see you're selfish when you played centre mid for Digby.
Yeah.
One last question, okay, for everyone else. What is your biggest football fail?
Go on, Josh.
Thank
Josh.
you, Luke, for that wonderful question. No, I remember. I just remembered this when we were speaking about it earlier. But I remember one of the United games I went to is Man United Arsenal in the FA Cup, and obviously I've got to drive all the way from Hemel Hempstead to, or my dad's got to drive from Hemel Hempstead up there, and this was, I don't know if you guys will remember the game. It was back in, I think, 2007, and basically we got a 1-0 win, and we scored in the first 20 seconds or something like that. I think it might have been Van Nistelrooy or someone. But obviously, great game. It would have been great to see it, but we got stuck in traffic on the way up there.
Oh.
And so we only made it for the second half. So I saw absolutely nothing.
That's fucking.
I saw one of the quickest goals United have ever scored. And I was like halfway up the motorway.
Brilliant.
Heard it on the radio.
Mate, my mate went to he's like a lifelong Charlton fan. He was, I think it was like Charlton versus Millwall.
Poor bloke.
And he was like 11. Yeah. He was like 11. And obviously, you get like the horses, like the police on horses. He said he saw a fan like trying to like lob stuff, bottles and whatnot. He looked at the horse shit, picked it up, and he was like, oh, what the fuck have I done? Just got a handful of horse shit. He was like, fuck it. And he still just loved it anyway.
Oh,
shout out Ross.
I remember at West Ham, we were playing, it was at Stoke at Upton Park. So basically, like, we were just behind the police and we were giving it to their fans, they were giving it to us. Yeah. And like, I was just started talking to my mate, and all I can see is this kebab flying in and right on my head, just landing right on my head. And that was before the game, so I had fucking garlic sauce and chili running down my face.
Oh, at least it weren't a brick.
Going.
Right, on that note, Greg, I think it's a good time to give us an outro. I think we've discussed a lot of nice things today. It's been good talking to you a lot about football. It's actually quite refreshing talking about football.
I actually enjoyed this one the most,
Yeah, like we was just talking. It was more just like it's something we're very passionate about. Do you know what I mean?
Pat, take your hat off. Take it off.
Oh yeah.
Take it off.
Oh, yeah,
take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Take it. Whoa!
Hey. Oh.
Loves football that
Rooney. Yeah, loves football that much.
Bro, he wants the fans back that much. He's ready to be in the stands again. Oh.
West Ham Ultra, bro.
If you're listening,
I'm here, I destroy you.
Mate, Pat looks like he should have been cast in Green Street back in the day.
if you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure you check out our Instagram at What's New Lads to see a picture of Pat with no.
Oh, what? He's going to go on Instagram? Well, I didn't agree to this, bro.
But yes, Greg, go on. Take it away, bro.
I'll do a little outro for us all. Okay. So, thank you very much. Why did I do that? Hey, guys. Thank you very much for watching episode 5 of What's New Lads Time to Talk. This has been a really interesting episode. Now, this is something that we all really want to talk about. We're passionate about it, and yeah, hopefully it can relate to a few people as well. They've probably got their own sort of comments on some of the questions. But yeah, leave a like rating as well, subscribe, and obviously within the week we'll release the new sort of topic, etc. But yeah, I think this episode's been really, really good because obviously it might not be everyone's favorite topic, but the whole point of this podcast is for us to just chat about things that we do love. And I think we can all say on the behalf of 6 of us, we've really thoroughly enjoyed it. And hopefully this sort of sparks conversation between friends that perhaps, struggling a little bit throughout this lockdown time. And yeah, hopefully they can sort of, relate and again, sort of like spark a conversation to speak to their friends and all in all, just get people chatting. So from all us guys, we say thank you very much and see you next week.
Cheers.
Do you know, I could see Greg counting 6 when he was saying 6. He was like, from 16.